Welcome to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. And now, here's your host, Ron Donahue.
Good evening once again, everyone, and welcome to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. I'm your host, Ronald Donahue, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Mario Lazo.
Deja vu.
And Mr. Jeff McIntosh.
As someone once wrote, it was a dark and stormy night.
Yeah.
So the joke is running now, guys. We had a great conversation. Actually, the first topic that we were discussing this evening, only to realize that we had not started recording yet. So, hey, that's good news. So now we're going to even be more polished than the first time that we went through everything. So how's everybody doing this evening? How you doing, Mario?
I'm doing fabulous. Now I'm doing really fabulous.
Yeah. Jeff, how you doing this evening?
I am just marvelous.
Fantastic. All right, so let's get started. So the Hollywood Report, well, this week, Marvel actually put out a trailer for the upcoming Avengers Doomsday movie. But the thing that was so many people said, man, that was like so stupid, because they've really done some great reveals in the past for different movies. Like when they bought out the cast for just think about it, the original Avengers movie, the excitement everybody had when they bought them out, when they bought out Chadwick Boseman for the Black Panther movie, usually at like D23 or one of those kind of events, it's like really huge. Even the last one, I think that was that? I don't know what event that was. Not D23. I don't know what it was. One of those big events. And they bought out Robert Downey Jr. That's when everybody knew that he was going to be playing Dr. Doom in the new movie. So their genius idea this week was they had all the different chairs, like the director's chairs with the actors' names on the back of them, lined up. And they had a camera going down the row, focusing on each actor's name. And they left the camera on their name for like 12 minutes before they moved on to the next chair, to the next actor's name. So the entire time, it took about 5 hours altogether to get 26 different actors' names that are going to be in the movie. Actors that have been selected so far. Now, there's more to come, but the 26 that have already been selected. Now, I didn't see that. I know people were complaining about it. I don't know if Marvel wisened up and fast forwarded, because the one that I saw, it was still the same thing, but the camera was just moving all along, with all the different actors and actresses' name. And then at the end, Robert Downey Jr. was he was actually there in his chair, and he stood up, did like the, finger over the mouse hush symbol, and just walked off. But that was like one of their worst reveals, I think, for the cast for this movie. But let me go right now. I'm gonna tell you guys all the different actors and actresses that are have been selected so far that are going to be in this film. Now, this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter. So to start off, some of the people who are not going to be in this film: Tom Holland. There's not going to be a Spider. Spider-Man's not going to be in here. Captain America, well, the original Captain America, Chris Evans, is not going to be here. Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. Yeah, she's not going to be here. Doctor Strange is not going to be in here. And also, I've heard as well, I don't think the Hulks, any of this, either Smart Hulk, Cool Hulk, Crazy Hulk, I don't think any of the Hulks are going to be in here either. But let me go down the list here. So starting off, we have Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, the new Captain America, Anthony Mackie, Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, Letitia Wright from the Black Panther. I believe that's Shuri, if I'm not mistaken. We have Simu Liu, that's Shang-Chi. We have Danny Ramirez, the new Falcon, and Winston Duke, who was M'Baku, the leader of, I believe, the ape or gorilla ape guys from Black Panther. We also have basically everybody from the upcoming Thunderbolts movie: Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier; Florence Pugh; Yelena Belova, that's Black Widow's little sister. I don't remember. I don't know if she's the Black Widow now, White Widow. I don't know, but one of those widows, whoever she is, she's in it. We have Discount Store Captain America Wyatt Russell as the U.S. agent. We got David Harbour for the Red Guardian. We have Hannah Jo Kamen as Ghost, and Lewis Pullman, who right now is only known as Bob, but everyone's pretty certain he's going to be this basically Marvel's version of Superman, a character named Sentry. So then, let's keep it going. We have a lot of the original X-Men cast. We have Patrick Stewart, Professor X. We have Ian McKellen playing, once again, Magneto.
Again, how old is that son of a gun?
Jeff, can you look that up while I keep going with this list? How old is Ian McKellen? So then we have James Marsden, who was Cyclops. We have Rebecca Romaine as Mystique. Now, the only thing I find kind of weird out of that, which I think if they're going to get some of the old guys, how come they didn't bring back Halle Berry as Storm? You know what I mean? I thought, she was with that original crew. It's weird that they have other actors. Again, like I say, they still have more, so maybe she might pop up. You never know. Okay. So
hey, Ron,
then,
let me interrupt you for just a quick second.
Okay.
85 years old.
Okay. Well, it's not. Okay. I mean, they had Charles Bronson and John Wayne shooting up dudes in their old age. So I could see him just putting on a cape and flying around.
Oh, man.
Okay.
I did see, though, that he wants to play Gandalf one more time before he finally retires.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So then, now from the X2 X-Men, we have Alan Cummings, who played Nightcrawler. We have Kelsey Grammer, but Kelsey Grammer's already been in the MCU already because he was at the end of the Marvels movie. Another thing that's kind of weird, well, again, I keep saying who they don't have, but everyone has not been announced yet. Because at the end of the Marvels movie, what's her name? Photon ended up in that other dimension with the X-Men, with Beast at the end of the movie. They haven't announced her yet. They haven't announced that she's going to be in this movie as of yet. But again, there's still other people that are going to be announced. So we also have Channing Tatum, who will be, I'm assuming, reprising his role as Gambit from the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. All of the cast from the upcoming Fantastic Four, including Pedro Pascal, Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as the Invisible Woman, Eben Moss-Backrack as the Thing, and Joseph Quinn, the Human Torch. Now, this one was a surprise to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're bringing this guy back. They're bringing back Tenoch Huerta Mejia, who played Namor. That rendition of Namor I thought was trash. I mean, they completely changed around his whole story in Atlantis. It was I didn't like it. It was garbage to me. But anyway, we also have, let me see, another one I didn't think, I thought might have been in this movie, but is not going to be in there, was the young lady. I don't know her name. I don't recall her name right now, but who was in that the Marvel TV, the Disney Plus series, Echo. I thought maybe she might have been in there, but I think they're going more for like the heavy hitting superheroes, not like your Daredevils and Iron Fist, your ground level, city superheroes. I think they're going for the big name people. So with that being said, with 26 announced people, 26 actors and actresses being announced, what do you all think about this, the selection so far for this upcoming movie? What do you say, Mario?
Well, number one, the plot is
Doctor Doom. He's the villain.
no.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
but what's the title of it again?
The Avengers Doomsday.
Okay, Doomsday. So it has nothing to do with the first two or all the previous ones. We're going down a new road with this one, right?
Right. It's a whole new different
And it,
event because you remember a lot of the original Avengers are not going to even be there. So it's going to be a
right,
whole new Avengers lineup.
right.
Right.
So we had what was the evil villain on the first two was God, I can see him,
Thanos.
Bronson, Thanos, and this one's gonna be Doctor Doom.
Right.
So we have to build a whole new story for that.
Because we had Thanos was underlying for all of the Avengers movie until he finally showed his face.
Yeah.
Then you remember there was it Ultron? Oh, I hated that movie.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, I hated that movie. And I love James Spader, is a great actor, but I just could not get into that movie. But yeah, everything led to Thanos. So yeah. And what I find is kind of interesting is it makes sense because I'm wondering they're going to have like an end credit scene of Doctor Doom in his Fantastic Four movie because originally that's where Doctor Doom came out in the 1960s in the Fantastic Four comics. That's where he was first introduced. So I'm wondering, is there going to be like a small, you know, uh, end credit scene with him at the end of their movie? They haven't said anything about it yet to introduce him, but we're still talking about this multi-universe stuff too now. Because remember, the Fantastic Four, they're in a different universe than the 616 that we know with all the other superheroes and stuff. So, and even with the X-Men, I don't even know what universe that they're in because when at the end of the Marvel's movie, Photon ended up in that universe because her mom was actually dead. But she actually saw her mom again in that new universe. But her mom was like a superhero. She didn't even know who her daughter was because she didn't have a daughter in that universe. So we're talking about mixing all these different, universes, and again, either or.
Okay. Okay. But in the previous, the Endgame and Infinity War,
Hmm.
we had what was it? Almost 8 years or 9 years of developing all the
Right.
different characters,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had the culmination of all those movies, and all those characters. But here we're going to start off the fight without having all those characters developed
I
and
think it's
in
just
different
starting.
movies.
Yeah, I think it's just starting a new character arc. I think that's what's going to happen. Is just starting a brand new. Because you remember who it was supposed to be, which never made sense to me. Originally, it was supposed to be before Jonathan. What's his name? What's the guy who played Kang the Conqueror? Jonathan Majors. Before he got in trouble, you remember it was supposed to be a Kang movie. They had, matter of fact, even in the Loki TV series, been leading up that Kang was going to end up being the villain against the Avengers. But that never made any sense to me whatsoever because Ant-Man and Wasp beat the crap out of this guy. So they're like, what? If you're going to talk about superheroes, like two of the minor superheroes, if they beat the crap out of this guy, what was Thor and all these and the Hulk, man, come on, they were going to make this guy into, cream eggs. So I don't understand why that was their thought process. But things happened. Jonathan Majors was out as Kang, so then I guess that's when they decided to bring, this whole Doom thing in. But either or, what do you think so far about this, Jeff? We got 26 people named so far, and I heard it's probably going to be up to 42 or 43 altogether.
I don't know why they don't bring in Jocasta, who was associated with the Avengers, and she was created by Ultron to be his bride. It seems to me that if they're going to bring in Doctor Doom, who is, I'm not going to say he's robotic or if he's I can't remember if he has any cybernetic limbs, but he does have that futuristic armor. So it would seem that Jocasta would have been a good addition to the movie. But with so many characters, are you going to have time for character development, or is character development not really a thing as long as there's kind of a shoot 'em up, punch 'em out kind of mentality in these movies?
I think
And
that's what's
that's a lot of people. That's a lot of characters. Can you fit everybody in? Does everybody have equal screen time? Obviously, Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom, he's going to get a lion's share of the picture.
Right. I think that I agree. There's no way in the world that they're going to be able to like really flesh out each and every character in this movie. I don't think that that's what's going to happen. I think that more in the lines of just like Endgame, right? You had your main characters in it, like the Avengers, but then you had all these other people that they brought in, when they brought them from the different times and all this here. You know what else was kind of surprising too? I was kind of surprised that we didn't have any of the Guardians of the Galaxy in here. Well, at least the new ones, I don't know if you guys saw. Did you see that Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special that came out? I think it came out the year before last.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end, Peter Quill was back on Earth with his grandfather, and it said at the end, we'll see Peter Quill again. We'll see Star-Lord again. So I was kind of, wondering, well, man, why didn't they bring Star-Lord back? Because I don't know where this is taking place. I don't know if it's going to be taking place on Earth or where it's taking place. I don't know. I know I said before what I believe. I think that this is actually going to take place. I could be wrong. I think this is actually going to take place in the universe of the Fantastic Four, just like it did in the original comics. They're going to be overpowered. They're not going to be able to fight this guy. So somehow they're going to get in contact with, all these the Avengers from this other universe and the X-Men from this universe and all this here. I think that's my personal opinion. That's what I think is going to happen. I could be totally wrong, and I'm probably sure I am, but that's what I think is going to happen. I don't know. I think that, so far, other than the Namor guy, what are you going to do? Just hold him out of water, put heat on him, and he's done. So, put a heat gun on that guy and he's through. So I don't know. So far, I'm okay with it. I would be interested. It would be interesting to see what they're going to do. It's my understanding is I believe it's the Russo brothers are handling it like they always do. So we'll see what happens. We haven't seen an Avengers movie in a number of years now, so it would really be interesting to see something new, a brand new cast, a brand new group of people or whatever that are going to be taking on the bad guys now. So
or being a walker.
Or being a walker. Well, like we said, some of the characters we talking about might already be in a walker by the time this movie comes out. But we'll see. Let's see what's going to happen. All right, well, let's move on. So, MovieWeb just came out with an article, and what they were talking about is to talk about the new upcoming Batman movie. Not the James Gunn Batman, but the Robert Pattinson Batman movie with Matt Reeves. And so what they're saying is, originally they were going to call it the Batman just 2. Something simple, Batman 2. But now they're saying that the movie is untitled. They're not going to call it that. And unlike the original movie, which was really just a gritty detective murder film, to be honest with you, more than anything else, they said the new film is going to be categorized more as in the line of sci-fi and fantasy, as well as action and adventure. So, with that being said, with the Rogues Gallery to me, I'm thinking this is gonna. I'm gonna tell you what. Well, this is what it says here. So if you're talking about like some of the big characters from the Rogues Gallery, Batman has dealt with, Clayface, which we already know is going to be a standalone horror movie that's coming out. We have Hush. We have Mr. Freeze. We have the Court of Owls. But Matt Reeves and asserted that the second chapter of the story is going to have a winter setting, which, if you think about it, would be ideal for Mr. Freeze, a new version of Mr. Not that Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Arnold.
not that, a new version of Mr. Freeze. So, what do you all think about this? It's going to be kind of different than the original. Like I say, it's not just going to be like a gritty detective film. It's going to border with the sci-fi and fantasy, along with, it's always been action and adventure. But what say you to this new ideal of how they're going to do this movie, and who possibly might be the villain of Mr. Freeze? What do you say, Jeff?
Well, I'd like to see somebody different from the Rogues Gallery. I mean, we've seen the Joker, we've seen Mr. Freeze, we've seen Poison Ivy, we've
Riddler,
seen Penguin.
Yeah.
Well, you saw the Riddler a little bit in this Batman movie, but I'm used to seeing the character from the comics or the character from the 1960s Adam West Batman.
Yeah.
So, I kept looking for, something a little more flashy, maybe not quite at the level of Jim Carrey, but, something a little different. So it's Batman. I would always go to see a Batman film. The one thing I'm going to suggest is I hope that they give Pattinson there a haircut, because the hair was constantly hanging in his face, and I don't expect I don't expect Bruce Wayne to have a shag haircut. I mean, you're a businessman, you're a billionaire, go to the barbershop and say, hey, take a couple inches off. I'd like to see a winter setting. And like you said, I mean, it sounds tailor-made for Mr. Freeze.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. The first time I watched that movie, I didn't care for it much. But I said, let me go ahead and watch it again. And it's so funny? The same thing happened to me when I watched the very first Joker film with Joaquin Phoenix. I didn't care for it so much. But then when I watched it the second time, I'm like, okay, this is not so bad. So, yeah, I had to watch it twice for it to kind of grow on me. The thing I would say about Pattinson, I just hope that in this film, I don't know, because the thing that bothered me most was he was the same character as Bruce Wayne as he was as Batman. The same, moping around and grumpy. And, Bruce Wayne has always been like the playboy. You know what I mean? Like, the ladies' man and whatever. I mean, he just seemed like he was as depressed as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. So I'm like, I don't know. But, I mean, he did okay in the movie. What do you think about this, Mario? A possible Mr. Freeze being the new villain in the next Batman film?
Well, okay. And we've seen it developed well. Is how much AI are they going to use in this film?
Probably a lot. Yeah, probably.
Exactly. So then you can adapt, the storylines that we know from the graphic novels. Mm-hmm. But that's always my concern, is how much, or will they not go far enough on AI to make the movie successful? Because when you're talking about scenes in the snow or ice, you have an open field there for AI, Right. So to me, it seems like it depends on, of course, the characters or the actors that are involved, but the AI, because I'm sure you've seen, like that older Batman, which AI was almost non-existent, or CGI, when they developed that film. But now, what is it, almost 20 or 30 years since?
Right.
And so, you can make good storylines and adapt the film. For example, the most recent Batman that was darker. You had a new character, a new vehicle, and I'm expecting something to, surprise me like that. I don't want to, pin my hopes on, 100%, but, hopefully they'll use the AI or CGI tastefully,
Yeah.
because
No, go ahead.
no, yeah, that's what it all, boils down to,
What I'm hoping is, because I don't know if the Clayface movie, I don't know if that's in the same universe. I know it's that. I know that I don't believe that's in the new DC with James Gunn. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. But if the Clayface horror movie is in Robert Pattinson's universe, I kind of, if eventually they end up going against each other, I kind of like that ideal. And I think if you really think about it, if they do this right, Mr. Freeze could be really like terrifying. That could be really like scary, this guy. I mean, this guy can freeze you to death in a matter of seconds. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this could really be scary. So I kind of like where they're going with this. They're going with more of the, like Jeff said, we didn't see the Joker, we didn't see the Riddler, we didn't see like the everyday people that really don't have any superpowers or anything like that. But like, okay, Mr. Freeze doesn't have superpowers, but he's got like a superpowered weapon freezing people to death. So I think it's pretty cool that if in fact that is what they're going to be doing and using Mr. Freeze, a new Mr. Freeze for this new movie, I think it's kind of cool. I think it's pretty good.
I think that the best Mr. Freeze actually was from the animated Adventures of Batman.
Yeah, he was.
And he was. And I don't remember that DC released a full-length movie with Mr. Freeze and Batman, but I'm blanking on the title right now.
Yeah, you're right. I do recall. Yeah, man. The whole story behind his wife is really sad. I mean, that's the whole thing about the guy, that just, man, trying to save his wife, and then he ends up turning into Mr. Yeah, it's a jacked up story. I mean, I wonder, like I said, maybe they might keep that in the new movie or whatnot. Maybe not. Oh, who knows? But yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think, I like if in fact that is going to be the new character. It would be nice. Like Mario said, I mean, it's been like, 30 years since we saw Arnold Schwarzenegger destroy the character with the skating villains and all that foolishness. So we know it's not going to be anything like that. So yeah, let's see what happens. Hopefully it might be something good.
Well, before we move off of Batman, I just want to give an R.I.P. to Clive Revell, who was the voice of Alfred the Butler on the animated Adventures of Batman. He just passed away a couple days ago at 94 years old.
Yeah, I saw. That's right. Yeah, he always did a great job as Alfred. Man, I don't think people really understand or realize voice acting is not easy. It's a different when, if you're standing in front of a camera acting and you can kind of, figure out, okay, I can stand this way, move this way, whatever. But to put all that emotion behind an animated character, that takes a lot of talent. The same way as Tim Conroy, Batman, before he passed away, he did a great job. So anywho, let's move on. Tonight is going to be really superhero heavy, folks, so hang in there. It's a rumor right now that there's going to be a new Disney Plus series called The Champions. Now, the original Champions Marvel comic book that came out in 1975, the lineup of heroes included Angel from the X-Men. You had Black Widow, you had Ghost Rider, you had Hercules, and you had Iceman, right? Another one of the X-Men. But now this new list of lineup that they have it's all women. So they have America Chavez, they have Cassie Lang, that's Ant-Man's daughter. They have Ironheart, that's that really smart young lady that made her armor just like Iron Man did. Real smart young lady. We have Kate Bishop, who I know, I believe in the comics, eventually Hawkeye gave her his name. She was, did you guys see that Hawkeye series on Disney Plus?
Yeah,
I did not.
Oh no, it was good, Jeff. Man, that was one of the better ones. It was really good. But her character was already introduced in it. They had a mission with Hawkeye, so that would be Hawkeye. We have Miss Marvel. What's her name? Khan. I don't remember her first. I tried to watch that show. I could not get into that show whatsoever.
I liked it. I did
no
see it.
way.
I
Are you
enjoyed it.
serious? You like that,
Yeah.
Jeff? Oh my gosh, that was like such like a little teeny bopper. I tried so hard. I could not get into that show. I really
Inclusion. Inclusion is the well, it used to be the byword in the United States, not anymore. But
Yeah. You know
enough
what?
of that.
Funny thing. Spoiler alert, guys. If you don't want to hear this, just turn it off. Turn off your volume. Turn it down for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. You know, her dad was in the one of the latest episodes, the 5th episode of Daredevil. I didn't know her dad worked in a bank, and so
Oh yeah, I just saw that episode.
yeah. That was her dad. I'm like, what? Get out of here! I didn't know he worked in a bank. So, anywho, I'm off subject. So now the sixth person in this lineup is the original name of the character was called the Asgardian, and now they changed their name to Wiccan. So the Asgardian came out. They first was introduced in the Young Avengers comic book series came out in 2005. And another thing, in the second issue of that same series, Scott Lang's daughter discovered that she has like superpowers. So I guess that's how she could fit in there. So what say to you all? What do you think about this? Going from the original lineup from the comic book to, and I gotta throw this in there. I saw it. I say, Mario, I'm watching myself, man. I'm watching. I have my addiction under control. But in doing my research, I found out they had a Champions versus Godzilla. I got to get my hands on that. I have got to get my hands on that. So what do you all say? What do you think about this, Mario? They're going to have, if it is true, if this rumor is true, they're going to have a lineup of all women who are going to be the new champions, new superhero group. What do you think?
Well, I don't like to make comparisons, but I'll give you my thoughts immediately when you said that. Is like the Ocean 11 movies, and then they came out after the third one, on Ocean's 8. That was an all-female cast, and they were pretty good. All the actresses were good, but it bombed at the theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're accustomed to one thing, I guess it's a method on how you introduce it. That's my belief, because I don't know how many people understood the previous, but now okay, we'll see what happens. And we've seen what's happened to some of the Disney movies that tank real bad. So let's hope this doesn't happen with this. superhero movie, you know. So I'm open, but I'm always cautious, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
In this case,
right. I mean, I think what it's going to all depend on, and I think the problem that I've seen with like so many of these Disney Plus series, I think it's just the story. You know, I mean, is a story? I mean, does it have a good story?
how long did
Yeah.
the She-Hulk series last?
That was only one season, and from what I've heard, like a lot of people didn't like it. I mean, I thought it was okay. I knew it was going to be like tongue in cheek. I knew it wasn't going to be like a serious, because
Right, yeah.
yeah, you know, even in the comics, originally it was kind of like tongue in cheek. It wasn't totally serious. So it was okay. I mean, I thought it was okay. You know, I mean, it wasn't fantastic or anything. Now, I tell you, one series that had fantastic visuals and everything, but it was just too weird for me. I mean, I still can't understand it 100%, was Moon Knight.
Oh yeah.
And I was really excited for that. When I heard they were coming out with the series and I watched it, I haven't heard anything yet that they're coming out with a second season or anything.
No, they are coming out with a second season. It was greenlighted.
Was it really?
Yeah, yes, it was.
Oh man, it was just too weird, man. I tried to get into it. I mean, I did. I went through the whole series, but I was just like, man,
I really liked the character. I like the TV series on Disney, but I thought that, you know, there was too much emphasis on the Egyptian gods and the avatars, and you know that they were fighting between, you know, the two gods were fighting, and the one character, and I don't remember his name, who ends up getting shot in the back of the limo at the end. You know, I would have been happy seeing him go up against like Bushmaster, the villain in the first couple issues of the original comic, or you know, somebody a little different, because you know, you don't want to see the superhero all the time, but really,
right.
I didn't think that there was enough Moon Knight in there. You know, you get the backstory on him, and you know, he's got dissociative identity disorder, and then you have to have him as the gift shop employee, and then you have him as Mr. Knight, and then you have him as you know, Jake Lockley, the cabbie, and then you have him as you know, pare it down, make it a little easier to understand. So you know, I'll wait and see what happens for the new series when it comes out.
The Champions, yeah. I mean, at least I can, out of the list of people, I say I'm kind of interested in seeing again. I kind of like Cassie Lang. I mean, she did okay in that last Ant-Man movie. I mean, you know, she was the one that ended up getting them into the micro world or whatever it is, or whatever with her invention thingy. I'm also interested in Kate Bishop, because the actress who played her did a great job in that series, the Hawkeye series. And then Ironheart, her series hasn't come out yet. I heard that she's supposed to be having her own series, and that hasn't even come out yet. So I don't know if they're going to do it like, you know, the original Avengers, come out with all the individual shows and then put them all together. I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, you know, I keep an open mind with their stuff. I mean, the Marvels was terrible. So as long as whoever wrote and directed the Marvels film is not in charge of this, then yeah, I'm on board. But that movie was terrible.
Well, you know, you've got to wonder, at what point are we going to hit saturation on superhero movies? When is the movie public, which is skewed toward, well, you know, younger people, you know, not old fossils like me.
Right.
But when are people going to say, you know what, we've seen enough Batman, Superman, X-Men, the Avengers, you know, let's let's see something different.
Yeah.
What's at the bottom of your purse,
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So let's move on once again. I sent you guys a link to that trailer for the new upcoming Michael B. Jordan film, Sinner. Now, this is the funny thing to me. I got to tell you. When I don't know, maybe the first time I watched it or saw it, I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw him, looks like what, the 1920s or something, a period piece. I saw the cars, I saw how they were dressed. And I figured, okay, this looks like, it's going to be like kind of like a gangster movie or something like that. So I guess I obviously enough, I just didn't pay attention. And then,
Vampires.
yeah. And I was listening to this show this week, and the host of the show was talking about, oh, yeah, I really look forward to seeing Sinner. Sinner looks good. Vampires. I'm like, vampires? So I went back and watched the entire, because I think this is the second trailer that came out, and I watched it, and I'm like, okay, this looks kind of good. I mean, I'm a Michael B. Jordan. I think is a pretty good actor. I really like what he did with Creed. Even though to me it wasn't his greatest role as Killmonger, I still think he did a pretty good job. But I saw the trailer and I say, man, this actually looks good. And I got to tell you, I'm not really a big person heavy on vampire films. I'm more of a werewolf person, to be honest with you. But I got to tell you, it does look good, at least in my opinion. What do you think, Mario? Do you think this is going to be a decent film?
Yeah. No, I liked. Remember, how would you describe it? The background,
Right.
if it's done correctly, the time period, excellent, I thought. So I'm hoping that, the story or the acting, follows with it, because you can tell they spent their money on the sets,
looks good.
sets. Yeah. So, and I'm interested in watching it. That I am, and Michael B. Jordan is a great actor,
Yes.
He's a great role actor. So, yeah, I want to see how this develops. And is it just going to be one movie? Any word on that? Or
yeah, it's just going to be like a standalone. And who the director is Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler is the director of the Black Panther.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He's done some great movies. I'm thinking of it now. I can't remember the one that was based on a true story about the young man that was shot at that train station. I think it was out in California, if I'm not mistaken. Man, something station. I don't remember the name of it. Let me see. Either or, yeah. I think it's going to be a pretty good movie. Ryan
and the time frame they selected, I love. The
1920s.
Exactly. Yeah, 20s and 30s. That's an excellent period. So I'm hoping that you can follow through.
What do you say, Jeff?
I'd like to see how they're going to treat the vampires. I mean, are we talking, traditional vampires coming out of their coffin, twilight, and drinking the blood of eligible young virgins? Or are we going to see some kind of variation on that? Maybe you're going to get like the vampires from the Underworld series, and they're all going to have shotguns and Uzis and jump off of tall buildings. So I would see it just for that. And I like him as an actor. I did not see Creed. That's a boxing / sport movie, so I'm not particularly interested in that. But did see him in Black Panther and enjoyed him in that role.
Yeah. And the film I was telling you guys about, Ryan Coogler. Now he also directed the Creed movie that came out in 2015. He directed Black Panther in 2018. And the name of the other movie, oh my gosh, it was so good. It's called Fruitville Station. If you guys get a chance, if you haven't seen it, oh my gosh, I mean, it's heartbreaking watching that movie, but man, it was so good. That was such a good movie. So as long as these are not the vampires from Twilight,
They sparkle.
right? They sparkle in the sunlight.
How quickly you guys forget the one with what's his name? The one Tom Cruise did. Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire.
Oh man, I didn't like that.
I don't care for Anne Rice. I mean, I've read several of her books, and I'm just kind of okay.
You don't like her books, or you don't like when they take her books and make them into movies?
I don't like her books.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she's very. She was Roman Catholic, and there's a strong sense of Catholicism that runs through the books, and I'll admit it, and I'll take any criticism that I get.
Yeah, I've never read any of her or any of her.
Neither have I.
But I mean, like I said, I didn't care for that Interview with a Vampire movie.
The TV series isn't bad. I've seen about 4 or 5 episodes of that because that ran on AMC, and I watched 3 or 4 episodes of that before my attention was diverted into something else. And like that, I like the actor who played the Brad Pitt role.
Okay.
In the original movie. I enjoyed that series.
All right, well, let's see. I mean, I think it comes out, if I'm not mistaken, I think it comes out in April. So, yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it looks really good. The cast, pretty good cast so far, everybody I've seen. So, yeah, let's see. And for our listeners, forgive me, but we have a new email address. So if any of the subjects that we talked about tonight, if you want to give us some comments, your feedback or whatever, or if you have any ideals or you would like things for us you'd like us to discuss on future shows, our email address is drbloodstone@gmail.com. That's easy. drbloodstone@gmail.com. So send us your comments, suggestions, or what have you. Anything. Send it to us. All right.
Or your photos.
Yeah. So last on the list tonight, we have our question of the week. So let me tell you, this is where it's all coming from. I've been watching, and I've really been enjoying, I got to tell you, this new Daredevil Born Again series. I didn't like the first Daredevil series. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even get through the whole thing. I didn't like it. I mean, I started watching it. It was okay at the beginning. I'm like, nah, I just dropped off. I couldn't get into it. I wasn't going to watch this one, but I said, let me give it a try. Let me see. And I got to tell you, I'm hooked. This new series is amazing. So the question all comes from, we know that Daredevil in Marvel is a vigilante. And we know that in DC, my favorite DC superhero is Batman, is also a vigilante as well. So the question comes, does the fact that vigilantes like Batman or Daredevil, I mean, it could be anyone, any vigilante, that's a good guy, but we call a good guy. Does the fact that vigilantes like Batman or Daredevil fight against crime justify that they break laws that would cause everyday people to go to jail? So in essence, yeah, we know they're saving lives and whatever, but at the same time, those guys, they break a lot of laws. Does that justify them being what we call superheroes? I'm going to let Mario go first because Mario used to be a police officer. I'm going to ask you.
How did I know that?
Let's go back, Mario. Let's go back how many years? Let's go back 30 years, Mario.
Okay.
And you're a police officer. Not down here. It's too hot to wear a costume down here. Let's say you're in some other state or whatever, but you're still a police officer or whatever. And there's some person, woman or man, that has criminals like terrified because this person is like literally beating the crap out of these people, making the streets safer now. At least for the good guys, for the innocent people, not so much for the criminals, but beating the crap out of people that are criminals. Well, I mean, what would your thought be as an officer?
Well, let me put it this way. My first month of being a rookie officer, I had to go twice to JPS, John Peter Smith, which is kind of like Jackson is here.
Okay.
And I had to do the two interviews for young ladies that had been raped, And the look, and you're supposed to kneel down if they're sitting in a chair so that you'll be below, not standing above them or anything like that. And the looks, when I looked at their faces and in their eyes, that left an impression on my mind. Now, let's say they catch the guy and he goes through the system. Did he get any justice? Or and I was taught by a senior officer who's really smart guy. You have a daughter, Ron. What would you do if your daughter was raped?
I'd kill him.
Okay. Well, short of that, you'd try to get as much justice.
I'm sorry, folks. No, I would let the legal system handle it for me.
Yeah. No, yeah, I know. Yeah. That's the responsibility.
You heard it here first that Ron Donahue is admitting to murder.
No. But that's what the general 100% response would be from a father.
Right. So think about this then. Let's go a different route then, because even like say in comics, you see who does Batman like fight? They fight like gangsters, stuff like that, drug dealers, gangsters, things like that. So let's take it down that road as opposed to somebody because.
Okay, like organized crime.
So if that was the case, right? If that was the case, like I say, you're a police officer. They're finding these drug dealers like skulls cracked. I mean, teeth bashed in, broken arm, broken leg. They're terrified to sell their drugs out on the street because this vigilante is out there getting them off the street, cleaning up the neighborhoods. So again, what is your opinion on that? Yeah,
I'd try to get a list and put it on a light pole. Here's some. I'm serious because, like I said, you haven't seen the darker side of the victims of crime or the criminals themselves. I was watching something this morning about, the mob still exists in New York, but not to the level like it did back in the 70s and decades before, Right. So it does still exist. What level are they at? I couldn't tell you because, number one, I don't live in New York. But you got to ask one of the New York detectives, how bad is the New York mob? I mean, and in China, in San Francisco or New York City, Chinatown, they have the triads and all that still. And is their business flourishing? And I'm sure drugs, because that's one of the main components. Should that be? Sadly, drugs, they say, will never be off the street. But if you had somebody like Batman or what is that, the Daredevil,
right?
Hey, it won't stop it. It'll put a ding on, and hopefully it'll put some fear into the dealers. Going, damn, I could be the next guy. That gets beat up, the jaw broken, 3 broken bones, and a twisted ankle. Yeah, you'd think twice to do it, but that's my philosophy. I mean, like I said, I knock on wood that, nothing as terrible as any of those things happen to me, but I've seen it on other persons. Yeah. What would you want me to say? Yeah. I mean, let's have a couple of Batmans and Robin and considering that, a lot of the big gangs and stuff like that. Yeah, we still have them, and like I said, we some of us fear them. Yeah, of course you should fear, street gangs or drug gangs, so yeah.
What say you, Jeff? So the question again, does the fact that they do what they do to help people and protect people, does it justify the fact that they break laws at times to do what they do?
Initially, when you started talking about this, I flashed on that graphic novel from DC, Who Watches or rather, The Watchmen, and the tagline was, "Who watches the Watchmen?"
Right.
If you have a vigilante, what standards do they adhere to? What are their personal limits? I mean, obviously, and I think Mario would agree with me on this. The criminal justice system is broken. People don't get justice. They might get legal justice.
Right.
And if you want to go with the case of somebody who's a pedophile or a rapist, they probably deserve a good beatdown. But you can't go into court and the judge isn't going to say, well, I'm going to sentence you to a year in jail, and every day in jail, I'm going to order that the guards beat you stupid.
That'll never happen.
that will never happen. And then you have to worry about it, and I'm taking this like way off. But let's assume that you've got a Batman or a Daredevil, and they put a hurting on a criminal, and they get all kinds of evidence, and it goes to court, and whoever this individual is has probably got a pretty decent defense attorney, and they're going to say, "Hey, this evidence was obtained illegally. Batman came in, he beat the snot out of my client. He went into his house, he raided his files, he took the stuff off of his computer, and he didn't have a warrant."
Mm-hmm.
Judge is going to say, yeah, you're right. Cut him loose. So, I understand that they're providing a vicarious experience for people.
Mm-hmm.
You've got somebody who's a serial rapist. Daredevil gets him, kicks his keister. People on the street are going to say, "Yeah, this is cool. This is great. He's made our city a safer place to be." But at the same time, he's also breaking the law.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. Because the reason I was thinking about that, and again, don't get me wrong, I've always said I understand Batman's philosophy. I understand. Just in the industry that we work, me and Mario work in, I said for years I understand it. You can't go to a criminal and talk to them and try to talk them down, and you shouldn't do this and that. No, man, you got sometimes, man, you got to bust some teeth out, you got to break some arms, you got to crack some skulls. That's what they understand. You know what I mean? And yeah, Batman doesn't make a habit. I mean, it has happened. He doesn't make a habit of killing people. I don't think, well, other than the Punisher's just like a psychopath. But they don't make a habit of killing people. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it happens. If you're gonna bake a cake, you got to break some eggs. But I was thinking, okay, let's go one step further. So let's say you have a situation right now where, I mean, we saw it in the Batman movie with even Christian Bale. When the police were coming after him, he made I forget what he did, but he caused some police cars to crash. Right? Like, I mean, the cops were coming after him, and these are vigilante, they're coming after the guy, and some cops probably ended up getting hurt or whatever. So can we still call that justified when it's like, say, law enforcement, trying to get you? I mean, yeah, you're trying to do a great service for people, whatever, you're making the streets safer. But then when the cops come and a cop gets hurt or something like that, does that still justify what you're doing?
Well, you got to consider this. That some municipalities now have a no chase policy.
Okay.
So that cuts that one down, unless it's like you're chasing after somebody that has a murder warrant, But
okay, so let me get here. I got the scenario for you guys. Okay, downtown Miami. the who is this? Chupacabra man is seen down near the 111 building. Okay, he knows that there's corruption in the 111 building.
Yeah.
So he,
Oh no! Don't get me onto that one.
so he goes there to get the criminal in the 111 building, but the police have been tipped off. Hey, we saw Chupacabra man, and let's make our way up there. So Chupacabra man is up on the 20th floor. Police make their Metro Dade makes their way up there to the 20th floor. He's trying to escape, get out of there, and he is not when okay. He's not going to let them take him. Of course, he's not like beating the crap out of cops like he would like criminals, but he's not going to get caught at the same time. So hey, you got to flip a few of them, whatever. So don't let them take their gun out and kick the gun out of their hand and knock a couple cops out. I'm talking about a situation like that. I mean, he's made Miami so safe now. You can walk in downtown Miami, at any time of day or night. Say it's safe now because people are scared Chupacabra man's gonna come. So I'm saying in that scenario like that, is it still justified?
That's a difficult question. As if you're asking me as a cop,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I put 100%. But and I've stood a couple of lines when people are yelling and stuff like that and try to spit at you and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
You got to take it in stride. Now, when it's physical, yeah, guy, didn't you know we'd be here in that building? We make an effort to really arrest him.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a difficult one to answer because you have to. You'd be derelict.
Right.
And you're helping your other officers. And you have to. I mean, that's a given. So yeah, officers will give 100%. Of themselves to capture that criminal. That's their responsibility. You can't not try to arrest them. You have to give 100% because at that point in time you focused on he's a criminal.
Right.
Even though he's a good criminal, he's Batman or the Daredevil or whomever, but you have to.
What say you, Jeff?
You can justify anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can come up with a rationale for any action that you want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could say, let's say that I go and people are selling drugs in my neighborhood, so
Mm-hmm.
I dress up as Super Mario Man,
Mm-hmm.
and I go down and I beat up all the drug dealers. And I steal their drugs and I take their money and maybe I flush the drugs down the toilet, or maybe I've got some friends that I know like drugs and I give them and I'm passing out samples like I'm the candy man. And my justification for that is, well, they were committing illegal acts, so I had to step in and show them the error of their ways and set them on the path to righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the money and the drugs. And because I have nothing but good intentions, it's okay. But it really isn't.
Yeah, it's I don't know. The deeper that we talk about it, like on the surface or whatever, I'm like, yeah, okay, it's cool. You have them out there, and you gotta, like I say, you gotta do what you gotta do to get these creeps off the street. I mean, that's my whole ideal, my thought behind it. But I mean, it does get a lot deeper than that. Especially depending when they do cross the line, because what happens in a situation if they do kill somebody? I remember a few years ago, there were really these guys and girls that were going around in costume, walking the streets in different cities, and they were doing like citizens arrest, right? They were, I mean, and if they saw somebody being attacked, yeah, they would step in because you have a right to defend yourself and you can protect other people. So yeah, this one dude, his costume looked they weren't wearing, I mean, any superheroes that we know, they weren't wearing those they had their own made up costumes and stuff. But yet and still, the people, I mean, if you can get over the way that they looked, people did feel safer now because, hey, police can't be everywhere. So now it's another set of eyes on the street. And these guys were like martial artists. They kind of like, you remember back in the day in New York, the Guardian Angels?
Yeah.
Like almost a situation like that, and they used to, hey, it would be great if we could get them back down on the subways again. You know what I'm saying? To make it safer or what have you. I don't know. I mean, wow. It's kind of hard. I mean, it's kind of hard. I mean, in the real world, I mean, on a movie and a TV show, it makes sense. But in the real world, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, because what if
where do you get all those fantastic toys? Like the Joker said to Batman in the first Batman movie. I mean, how are you going to be able to afford a grappling hook or
right. Amazon, eBay? Trust me, these guys.
You got to be a billionaire to be able to afford those toys.
You got to look on. You can find it, and any of our listeners, I'm sure if you look on YouTube, you can type in, real life superheroes. And I'm pretty certain this one guy is going to be the first guy that pops up, whatever. And it's going to tell, because I don't know, was it Vice? I might have seen had a story about them years ago. I mean, it's pretty interesting. And I mean, I respect the fact that you have people who are out there. It is kind of weird though, that you're out there wearing a costume. That's kind of strange. Cause that has me wonder, like, is the elevator going all the way up to the top floor with this person? You know what I mean? But you're wearing the costume just like in the comic books or in the movies, because you don't want anybody to know who you are. This might be your neighbor that just beat the crap out of you because he caught you, robbing somebody or something. You don't want them coming to your house or after your family. So I mean, I kind of understand it. Either or. Once again, to our listeners, what's your take on this? Does like we said, the question, does the actions of a superhero Batman, a vigilante superhero Batman, or like Daredevil, does the actions that they take to keep people safe, the good people of their city safe, justify them breaking the laws to do it? Let's hear what you have to say. And once again, our new email that you can email us at is drbloodstone@gmail.com. Well, that pretty much wraps up our show for this evening. And I want to thank my co-host, Mr. Mario Lazo and Jeff McIntosh. And thank you for our listeners. We thank you for listening. We thank you for your support. And we will see you next time. Have a good night.
Well, take care now.